Long before written history, before cities, metals, or even agriculture as we know it, Earth was a brutal arena where survival depended on instinct, cooperation, and courage. In this unforgiving world, prehistoric humans were not the dominant force we often imagine today. They were vulnerable, lightly armed, and constantly hunted. Among the many terrors that ruled their environment, one creature stood out as a living nightmare, the Titanoboa. Episode 21 explores a hypothetical yet chilling confrontation between early humans and the largest snake to have ever existed, a battle that symbolizes humanity's earliest struggle against nature itself. Titanoboa lived around 60 million years ago during the Paleocene epoch, in what is now South America. The climate was hotter and more humid than today, creating the perfect conditions for giant cold-blooded reptiles to thrive. Titanoboa was not just a larger version of modern snakes, it was a true apex predator. Stretching up to 42 to 45 feet long and weighing more than a ton, its body was thicker than a grown man's torso. Its muscles were powerful enough to crush bone, and its jaws could easily engulf large prey. In swampy forests filled with crocodile-like reptiles and massive turtles, Titanoboa ruled silently, striking from the water with terrifying precision. Prehistoric humans, on the other hand, evolved much later, but imagining an overlap allows us to understand the raw imbalance between early humans and nature's deadliest predators. Early humans were not superheroes. They lacked advanced weapons, armor, or scientific knowledge. What they did have was intelligence, adaptability, and something no other species possessed in equal measure: cooperation. Small groups of hunter-gatherers relied on shared awareness, primitive tools, and social bonds to survive in landscapes filled with predators far stronger than themselves. Picture a dense prehistoric jungle near a vast swamp. The air is heavy, buzzing with insects, and the ground is soft with mud. A small group of humans moves cautiously, carrying stone-tipped spears, wooden clubs, and fire-hardened sticks. They are searching for food, perhaps fish, small mammals, or edible plants near the water's edge. Every sound matters. Every ripple in the swamp could mean death. Unbeknownst to them, beneath the dark water lies Titanoboa, perfectly still, sensing vibrations through the ground. Titanoboa was not a fast-moving chaser like a big cat. It was an ambush predator. Its strength lay in patience and surprise. When prey came too close, the attack would be sudden and overwhelming. A single strike could knock a human off their feet, followed instantly by coils wrapping around the body. Once caught, escape would be nearly impossible. The crushing force of Titanoboa's coils could stop breathing in seconds, breaking ribs and collapsing lungs. For a lone human, this encounter would almost certainly be fatal. But prehistoric humans rarely survived alone. This is where the balance, though still terrifyingly unequal, begins to shift slightly. A group witnessing such an attack might react with panic at first, but fear often sharpened their instincts. Fire would be their greatest advantage. Most reptiles fear fire, and early humans had already learned to control it for warmth and protection. Flaming torches waved aggressively, combined with loud shouting and thrown spears, could confuse or deter even a monster like Titanoboa, especially if it had not fully committed to constriction yet. Still, killing Titanoboa would not be easy. Stone weapons were crude and limited in penetration. Its thick scales and massive muscles could absorb a great deal of damage. A successful hunt or defense would require coordination, timing, and sacrifice. Some humans might be injured or killed in the process. Spears would need to target vulnerable areas like the mouth, eyes, or the underside of the head. Fire would need to be used strategically to drive the snake away from water, where it was strongest, and onto land where its movement was slower. This imagined battle represents more than physical conflict. It symbolizes the turning point of human evolution, where intelligence began to rival brute strength. Titanoboa embodies nature at its most extreme: silent, powerful, and merciless. Prehistoric humans represent fragility combined with innovation. Every encounter with such a predator would shape human behavior, reinforcing the need for communication, planning, and storytelling. Warnings about dangerous places and creatures would be passed down orally, becoming the earliest myths and legends. The psychological impact of creatures like Titanoboa cannot be underestimated. Fear of snakes is deeply rooted in human biology, possibly inherited from millions of years of evolutionary pressure. A monster of this size would have left a lasting imprint on the human mind. Cave paintings, ritual dances, and early symbols may have been inspired by encounters with giant reptiles. To early humans, Titanoboa would not just be an animal, it would be a demon of the swamp, a living god of death. If prehistoric humans ever managed to kill such a beast, the victory would be monumental. The body alone would provide massive resources: meat, skin, bones, enough to support a tribe for weeks. Such a triumph would elevate the hunters to legendary status within their group. This is how heroes are born, not in comfort, but in moments where survival hangs by a thread. Over time, these stories would grow larger than life, transforming real dangers into mythic enemies. However, it is important to remember that most encounters would not end in victory. Nature was unforgiving, and early humans paid a heavy price for every lesson learned. Titanoboa did not need to hunt humans specifically; humans were simply another animal in its territory. This reality reminds us that humanity's dominance of the planet was never guaranteed. It was earned slowly, painfully, through countless losses and small victories. Episode 21's imagined battle is not about who would win in a simple fight. Titanoboa, in raw power, would almost always dominate. The true story lies in how humans adapted. Instead of evolving bigger teeth or stronger muscles, humans evolved better brains. They learned to read the environment, avoid danger zones, and work together. Over generations, this intelligence allowed humans to spread across the planet, while even the mightiest creatures like Titanoboa eventually vanished due to climate change and ecological shifts. The extinction of Titanoboa reminds us that strength alone is not enough to survive the test of time. While it was nearly unstoppable in its era, it was also highly specialized, dependent on a warm climate and specific ecosystems. Humans, fragile as they were, proved more flexible. They adapted to cold, heat, forests, deserts, and mountains. The battle between prehistoric humans and Titanoboa is therefore symbolic of a much larger truth: the quiet rise of intelligence over raw power. Today, when we look at fossils and reconstructions of Titanoboa, we feel awe, fear, and curiosity. But we should also feel respect for our ancestors, who faced a world far more dangerous than ours with nothing but stone tools and determination. Their survival laid the foundation for everything we are today. This ancient clash, whether real or imagined, captures the essence of humanity's earliest story: a species standing on the edge of extinction, staring into the jaws of a monster, and choosing to fight, adapt, and endure. In the end, Titanoboa represents the ultimate challenge of the prehistoric world, and humans represent the ultimate survivors. Episode 21 is not just a tale of a deadly battle, it is a reminder of where we came from and how close we once were to being just another forgotten species in Earth's long and brutal history.